Hello everyone. Welcome back to Protaly Rant number 4362. Pull a sneaky on you there. Friends, enemies, those still under review. Quick disclaimer, I am not and have never proclaimed to be a Hellenist. I do not believe in that religion. I do not believe in any religion. However, I do consider myself more knowledgeable on this subject than 96% of people. If you pulled 100 people off the street, I would know more than maybe 96 of them. With that disclaimer out of the way, let me talk about the fact that no one understands the Titans. Specifically, the one that pisses me off the most is Kronos with the K, Kronos with the C. Whatever the fuck you want to call the Titan of the Harvest and King of the Titans. So first off, let me say, Titans, for those of you who are uninitiated, aka no one, Titans are gods in Greek mythology who come before the Olympians. They are a different class of god, but they are still a god. And like a god, they have a domain. A domain, bullet points, is just what that entity is the god of. For example, Zeus is the god of the skies, thunder, and kingship as a concept. What a great king he is. All hail. This is water, by the way. Sora. So let me talk about something. In Egyptian mythology, they do not have a consistent king of the gods. Because, first off, Egyptian mythology changes a lot depending on when you're talking about. Because the Egyptians changed a lot. Because when you talk about ancient Egypt, you could be talking the year 3500 or the year 36 BC. That's 3,000 and a half years to work with. When you're talking about ancient Greek history, you're only about 1/3 of that. And even then, we only have sources for about half of that 1/3. So, a lot less time, a lot less change. And when a lot of it is written down, it doesn't change a whole lot, bits and pieces. So, the issue I have with people's interpretation of Kronos, I'm going to call him Kronos because that's how they say it in the Percy Jackson movies, and that is what I was raised on and what I think sounds best. Anyway, so Kronos is the Titan of the Harvest. He is also considered by some to be the Titan of Time. There is a reason for this. Because the word Kronos sounds like the Greek word for time. I will say this misconception that he is the Titan of Time is not a new one. It is also one that certain Greeks had. Now you may be thinking, well, if the Greeks had this misconception, does that make it a misconception or another myth? You can debate that all you want, but the original intention of Kronos was not as the god of time, he was simply the god of the harvest. Now, here's the thing about the harvest. It's very time-centric. You harvest these days, this month, this time for this crop. Time is the operative word in harvest. What time do you harvest controls everything. So, combine these two factors. Kronos sounds like the word for time. Kronos is the Titan of the Harvest. The harvest is associated with time. Why is he called Kronos? Because all of the other gods, we don't have a super clear, or not all of them, a lot of the other gods, we don't have a super clear etymology for them. So why do we know the etymology of Kronos? Oh wait, that's because he's not Greek. Yeah, newsflash. So, why I brought up the Egyptians earlier, because I think I might have moved on before making the point. the Egyptians, Ra, Osiris, Amun, Amun-Ra, Aten, all of these can be said to have been, at one point in Egyptian history, the king of the gods, right? That's not the same for the Greeks. Zeus has always been the king of the gods. Well, sorry, no. Zeus was the king of the gods, and then Poseidon was. At no point in Greek history was a Titan considered king of the gods. So, as you all know, they don't just make up these myths for nothing. It's not like they're just sitting there like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good story. Sometimes they were, but originally that's not what they were doing. Originally this was to explain natural phenomena. So you wouldn't just make up another set of gods for no reason. So where did the Titans come from? They come from the Middle East. So the Mycenaeans, right, or the Mycenaeans, however you want to pronounce it, I say Mycenaeans, were the Greeks before the Greeks, right? They were the beta test of the Greeks. They were a Bronze Age civilization in southern Greece. They worshipped the king of the gods, Poseidon, or Poseidon. He was also the king of the dead, the earth shaker, the king of everything, essentially. So, he was the king of the gods. When the Mycenaeans started interacting with other peoples to the east, such as the Hittites, the Phoenicians, the Assyrians, even the Babylonians, all of these people in the east, they like these concepts. For example, I can't remember the names, but in Hittite culture, so the Hittites are in modern day Turkey. They come from somewhere in Russia, but they're from modern day Turkey when the Greeks interact with them. So the Hittites' chief god, I think, is Ana, who is the sky god. And he eats his children. And a stone. He eats his children. And one of his children is the storm god. Teshub, I think? I'm giving these names that I barely remember because I need to be able to reference them. So if I'm wrong, look me up, correct me, please. So Teshub, storm god, Ana, sky god. You will notice Ana is a sky god, Kronos is a harvest god. Where's the disconnect? Oh, who is Kronos' father? Uranus, the god of the sky. So they kind of combine these two characters in their own mythology because there's always the question of where do we come from, right? That's fundamentally what religion is. Where do we come from and where do we go? So there's also then that question if the gods are where we come from, where did the gods come from? That's why almost every Indo-European religion has linearity to it. God created the heavens and the earth 7 days. There's linearity there. Lucifer rebels at a certain point. He's also an angel at a certain point. Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, the third one no one cares about, I think it's Seth. Who gives a shit? You're not cool. This is just the most popular religion in the world, right? And then you have, like I mentioned, with the Egyptians, you have Ra, Horus, Amun-Ra, Aten. You have linearity to it. So just like all of these other religions, like even the Norse have linearity to it, just in a different way. But all these other religions, there's building blocks. And the Greeks didn't really have that, at least not originally. So what did they do? They stole it. They straight up just took what the Hittites had and said, a yoink. Now, I am not diminishing this part of their religion. I'm simply saying that it annoys me when people talk about Kronos or when people get so high, specifically some Hellenists out there who get high and mighty about knowing their mythology. It's like a lot of these people like to misrepresent shit. So, like, Kronos, the Titans themselves are misunderstood by so many people. Because it's like, first off, if I was to tell you right now one of your children will murder you, a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm just going to give them love and affection. No, you won't. You're going to do something about it. And it probably isn't going to be pretty. Like, I don't know, you might eat them. I'm not... Actually, I am justifying his reasoning because I feel like people shit on it too much. I don't know why he had to eat them, because clearly the gods don't die when you eat them. But also, he has an adamantium sickle. He has one of the few things that can kill gods, and he still chooses to eat. Not relevant. So the Titans are misunderstood. Kronos is not a god of time. Sorry. Yeah, he's not a god of time. He is a god of the harvest. He is a king of the gods, but not really. And that is, so that, I lost my point here at some point, but that is why he has an etymology to him. Because when the Greeks were coming up with a name for this new god they were creating in their stories, they simply just chose the one that had to do with time, because what do you associate with the harvest? Time. So he's not really the god of time. They didn't worship him as some sort of nebulous concept of time. Because really, if you look at all the big gods, none of them have super nebulous concepts. Like Nemesis is the god of revenge. How do you worship revenge? Do you just go out like committing, like do you go out seeking revenge? Not everyone has shit to avenge. So it's like, that's why like Hera's the goddess of motherhood. Everyone has a mother. Zeus is the god of the kings. He's the god of lightning. We don't like lightning. We all have a king. So that's why he's not really the god of time. He is the god of the harvest. Because you can worship the harvest. You can't worship time. You just put a bunch of watches there. Praise be Kronos. I have brought to you my Apple Watch. Do I still have an Apple Watch somewhere? Yeah, whatever. This joke got old. Water. So yeah, this was my rant about how I needed something to do, and I watched a video where someone called Kronos the god of time, and then I'm like, you know what I should do with my Monday afternoon? Is it Monday? I don't know. Time doesn't exist when you've graduated from high school and have no job. So, God, one day my employer is going to have to look through my social media history, and they're going to find wonderful videos about the Roman Empire, the Mongols, Cleopatra. That's a certified hood classic. Oh my God. I want to be president one day. That is a thought I have had. I'm like, what if I'm president one day? My political opponents are going to use this against me. They're going to be like, oh, well, he thinks you can't worship the gods you want to worship. That's not what I said, but okay, man. Now I'm going to end this video. Sam, my beautiful girlfriend, I love you sometimes. Allie, you still smell like worse Virginian. I'm sorry, you kind of just can't wash that out. Toxic. Cosmic, you're way better than most Scottish people, but you're still on that tier with all the rest of the British people. And Sora,